As we started to work on the search cpan.org clone, we started by creating a skeleton for the application, and then we started to write acceptance tests, testing the existing search cpan.org website, and hoping that once we have all the acceptance tests, then we can start writing the application. And once we manage to implement all the features that were in the acceptance test, then everything is done. This would be the theory, but in practice, it's quite unpleasant to write so many tests in a row without seeing actually the application being written. So now I'm just putting aside the writing of the tests and starting to write the actual web application. So I switch to the terminal, and in order to write this application, I have to decide first of all what framework I'm going to use. Perl has a number of modern web frameworks: Catalyst, Dancer, Modulicious come to the mind, but actually this application that I'm going to write doesn't really need all the fancy features that these frameworks provide. So I decided that instead of going with any of these, I'm going to use plain psgi with the Plaque implementation, which is actually the basis of all three of these frameworks. So once the application is ready, we might even switch to one of the frameworks, but for now, we'll see how to use just plain psgi for writing this. In order to run this application, in order to start writing it, the first thing we need an app psgi file, or basically we could implement the whole application just in this file. This file is just using, it won't do much. Loading use strict, use warnings. And then I want to load the module itself. So meta cpan SCO we are going to load. Of course, because this is not in the search path of Perl, not in the @inc directory, we have to add the lib directory to the @inc search path. And then once we loaded the module, the only thing we're going to do is going to call the its in run method, and that's it basically. Now, what's in that file? That file is at this point is still empty, but we can start writing it. So we have to implement the run method now. Sub run, and what this run method needs to do, it needs to return actually a subroutine. So we have to return a subroutine, and this subroutine is going to be called every time someone is accessing the website. And what's expected from this subroutine, that it will return an array reference. This is their expectation of psgi. So it has to return an array reference. In the array reference, you have three values. The first value is the HTTP response code with 200 is success. The second one is an array reference itself of the header. The most important header is the content type, which in this case I'm going to start with text plain. And then the third part is the text itself, so just put it hello. And this is the three parts of the array reference. This is what it needs to return. So this is basically, or this could already work doing something really simple. So let's see it. I quit this editor, and then I can run pluck-up. This will tell me that I can now go with the browser to the localhost and port 5000. So I switch to the browser and go to localhost 5000. And indeed, it will print out hello. So first thing we have done, this is quite good. Now I have to quit again the running web server and go back to the editor and do more stuff, and then then launch the editor again, the web server again, which is tiring. Instead of that, I'm going to create a new tab here in the same directory. So it's another window, and run pluck-up in this same place, the same directory. But instead of just running pluck-up, I'm running pluck-up -r, which means it's going to look for the files in this directory and see if something is changed. And if something changed, it will reload the application. So Now I can go back to the editor and start writing more. The first thing is, of course, that I will need to see what the request was. So where a request, what the request path was. In order to do that, I need to load the plug request module. So I'm going to load the plug request module, and then in this subroutine, we are actually receiving the environment. So every time the user accesses my website or this website, this subroutine is going to be called, and plug will pass all the environment into this, or the psgi will, the web server will pass all the environment into this scalar, and then we can use that scalar to create the request object. The request object is, of course, using plug request, and I'm creating a new object using the environment variable that we have just got. And now, based on this request, we can check if the given the path info, so the path in the URL, the thing that comes after the domain name, basically the slash something, if this is equal to the root, then we are printing out this hello. Otherwise, we want to print out something else. We are going to give a 404, sorry, file not found or not found error. Now this time I just decided to switch to HTML. As you can see, text plain or text HTML doesn't really matter as long as I'm sending back just plain text. It doesn't really matter. And here then the usually text is 404 not found, though as you can imagine, you can create your own code as well here. Now I can switch back to the web server. I can still reload the hello still working. Now if I go to some other page, ABC, let's say, then I get the 404 error. So that's really the skeleton of the web application. Little more thing that we might need to do is, of course, because we are writing an application, go to the makefile.pl and the PM write that we are requesting plug request minimum version 0. Doesn't really matter what version I'm asking here. I don't really know what we need. And that's it. So now we can also git add and git commit the code. So we can git add git commit, and here I have already prepared this commit message. So let's copy it from some other place, and it didn't like me because I have to type it git check in or git commit actually, and that's it. So we finished the first skeleton of the psgi application.